On the day of my coming-of-age ceremony, I was forced to choose to be disbanded. But I didn't choose the charming and beautiful fox demon. I chose a female cat with a big round waist, just because in the previous life, the fox demon was played with by his younger brother until he was about to die and then abandoned, and spent everything to raise him to be bright and beautiful. But later at the ceremony for the head of my brothel, he thrust a sharp sword into my chest. He turned around and threw himself into his brother's arms. The son works hard regardless. I slowly closed my eyes. When opening eyes, I went back to the day he was abandoned by his brother. Just stepped into the orc exchange. Then I saw my brother Song. Behind him were two extremely beautiful orcs. A man with fluffy rabbit ears on his head. A butterfly with royal blue wings on its back. And there was a slender figure stepping under his feet. He was constantly cursing the exchange owner. "You suppress me to death. Dare you give me this kind of stuff?" The boss was so frightened that he bowed and begged for mercy. "I'm sorry, second young master. It must be the people below me who are doing things. That's why you let this smelly fox sneak into your home. I'll tell him to go back now." The orc lying on the ground was barely visible. The fair and delicate skin is covered with hideous wounds. He didn't know what he was shouting. But because of the pain, I can only express sadness and weakness. Me in previous life, I was just blinded by his pitiful appearance. So he resolutely took him home and took good care of him. But he ended up stabbing him to death with a sword. I sneer from the bottom of my heart. Turn your eyes away from him. But Song Rong discovered my existence. Order someone to bring Liu Ryan to me. What, brother? You are interested in this fox? Talking. He also tapped Sha Yun's face hard several times with his foot. I watched with cold eyes as he sent me off in an arrogant "Don't speak when you see me." He pinched Sha Yun's delicate face again. Sha Yun raised her head slightly. Deep eyes looked straight at me. I turned my eyes at him in disgust. He whispered in a low voice that this kind of thing can't even get into my eyes. I turned to leave. However, King Song pursued him relentlessly. "Brother, you have never raised an orc before. I'm afraid it's not clear. Orcs are born wild. If you are not careful, you will hurt the owner. I've already trained that orc just now. He is the most beautiful fox orc. You only need to take it back and raise it for a few days. It will definitely make you want to die while serving you." I ignored the obscene smile on Song Rong's face. Passed straight past him. But something grabbed my feet. Looked down. Fortune is lying at my feet. Hoarse voice. "Please take me away." His bloody fox tail wrapped around my feet. A pair of blue eyes sparkling with light. After saying this, he looked at me crazily, as if expecting me to let him go and take him home. However, I pulled my feet away in disgust. What a dirty word. Hearing this, his eyes dimmed. The eyes are filled with wonder. Seeing this, Su Rong chased after her speaking again. Full of sarcasm. "My living Buddha brother, there is also a heart of stone for one day." I think I just slapped the orc in the face. "I've been talked about by you for several days. Why don't you save me now?" I wiped my hands. He said softly that he just wanted to think clearly. Some orcs, no matter how much they attack people, still a beast at heart. Cold-blooded and kind-hearted. When Song Rong still wanted to argue with me, there was a commotion at the door of the exchange. A dozen strong men escorted an orc into the orc's hands and ankles were tied. Thick arm chains. It's also specially coated with a potion that makes the orcs weak. "Leader, report happily to the exchange boss. This bitch is so fierce. Several of my brothers were injured. He can challenge 5 or 6 of our brothers alone. I don't know if it's sent to the Colosseum. How much can it cost?" I looked carefully at the orc. Because he's covered in blood and mud, I couldn't figure out what species he was for a moment. A roar rose from his throat. Different from Liu Ryan's begging for mercy just now, but a kind of compassion and resentment. It seems to be complaining about all the injustices in this world. Song Rong licked his lips. An orc with such a hot blood-sucking pack. I don't know what it feels like. The female orc heard him say that. Break free from the shackles. Go straight to him. A sudden change. Let Song Long sit on the ground in shock. However, at this critical moment, many bodyguards came from all directions. Worked together to subdue the female orc. Song Long picked up the dagger from his waist and stabbed him in the abdomen. "Damn bitch. I will make your life worse than death." The orcs endured the pain, stunned but didn't say a word. The bodyguard put the shackles on him again, about to take away. The beast stopped Finglong. "Since my brother is willing to help me choose orcs, then I want him." As soon as these words Everyone came is out, surprised. No one thought I would choose someone so fierce and untamable. Sha Yun's hands are still lying on the ground. He looked at me with wide eyes. Eyes full of confusion. Song Rong paused as he was about to leave. The eyes looking me up and down make me very uncomfortable. I really didn't expect it. Your eyes are so strange. Don't blame your brother for not reminding him. This is a beast. Be careful not to be eaten alive by him. I'm riding with a smile. If you give it up, Thank you, brother, for enduring the pain. Satisfy my little fetish. Song Long snorted coldly. Take people away. Fortune was left where it was. I asked the boss to unshackle the female orc. The boss was a little embarrassed after hearing this. Master Dai, you also saw this orc is really ferocious. I'm afraid I'll hurt you if I open it rashly. I walked up to the orc woman. Kneel down and take out the medicine you brought with you. All will hurt you, but you have lost too much now. Need to stop bleeding. His big eyes full of confusion, but no resistance. After taking medicine, I asked him if he wanted to come with me. He didn't seem to expect to be chosen by me either, so he looked straight at me. I chuckled and said, "Don't speak. I'll take it as your default." Maybe my eyes are too sincere. His dark cheeks showed exactly the same. I eat more. I laughed while untying his shackles. I'm a bit stingy. I'm not allowed to give you your name. His brown ears drooped. A little shyly in a low voice. My name is Hunyu. I also understand why he is so tough in Wenyan. I took Hunyu out of the exchange. Boss Shai has already sent Shai Yunzhen out of the door. He leaned against the wall and tried to support Zan, but he still puts his sad eyes on me. Why don't you choose me? I frowned. Don't want to pay attention. But I saw him suddenly running towards me. But before he touched me, I was blocked by my friends. Take your paws away. Don't touch my master. Eyes burning. Eyes filled with water. You really don't want to choose me. I squinted my eyes. Lift his chin and look up and down. Give me a reason to choose you. Classical Chinese. His eyes burst out with light. His tone was a little urgent and he said, as long as you take me away. Hunyu heard this. He pricked up his ears nervously. I curled my lips and smiled. Don't then turn around and smile warmly at Hunyu. Let me take you home. I saw him pitifully in the last life. I quickly decided to take him home. In this life, because of the appearance gave him a sense of crisis. He lowered his proud head. Begged me hard. But now I'm living again. I will never let anyone be my weakness. I took Hunyu to the carriage. He trotted forward and lay down on the ground with a wink. I was stunned when I saw this. I wonder what are you doing? He lay on the ground wagging his tail and said to the master, you step on me and get in the car. I smiled and shook my head. Lift him up. My orcs don't need to do any of this. He tilted his head in confusion and said, so what do I need to do? I got in the car, patted the seat next to him. You come up first. I will arrange tasks for you later. Hunyu sat next to me with an extremely unnatural expression. Fourth, you are afraid of touching me. The whole body is pressed against the carriage. I gently grabbed her tail. Ask Bubble. He nodded happily. He immediately shook his head again. Finally murmured, I just heard you say. That fox hides. I also hide the words. I couldn't help but chuckle. Then moved closer to him. Whispered a person or an orc. You can wash your dirty body, but the heart in my heart cannot be cleaned. He nodded as if understanding. He no longer resisted my approach. After a moment of silence, he suddenly raised his fist and said, I am very powerful. On the mountain before. No beast within 100 miles radius dares to just approach. Now, at the exchange, if they hadn't been drugged, I've beaten them down long ago. I can protect my master well. The owner will not be harmed at all. He seems to be afraid that I am not trustworthy. Hand. With round eyes. I will protect you. I looked at his serious and determined face. Argued for a moment. Previous fortune. Just act coquettishly. I will fulfill all his wishes. I protected him well. Everyone laughs at me for being obsessed with Populus Euphratica because I am immortal. Everyone thinks I don't need protection. Song Rong always has dozens of bodyguards and comforters around and I'm always alone. The only one around me who would worrying about me getting hurt is the elderly housekeeper. This is the first time I hear it. Some people say they want to protect me. After returning home, Hunyu was a little at a loss. Lower your head and quietly look at the surrounding environment. I asked my servant to take her to take a bath. It can pass in half an hour. Hunyu suddenly exclaimed. He ran out without missing a beat. White foam on healthy, weak complexion. Extraordinarily conspicuous. I suddenly froze in place. After a while, he quickly picked up a blanket from the sofa. Wrap her tightly. Her ears stood up so high, looking frightened. That human made me wet. Then bubbles started to bubble up on me. I used to be in the mountains. A little fox accidentally ate poison. It's this kind of white bubbles that I spit out. The servant chased him out with sweat profusely. Spread your hands. Look at me helplessly. I smiled. Signal him to step back. Then I explained to him carefully. His name is shower gel. Makes you smell good all over. I handed him the new clothes I had on hand. Not on the mountain now. You have transformed. Must wear clothes. 10 minutes later, Hunyu changed her clothes, walk up to me coquettishly. I was stunned for a moment. Seeing that I haven't spoken a word. She spoke softly. Now you can tell me the mission for me. I'm good at fighting. I can be a bodyguard or security guard. Or if you want to kill someone, just kill them for you. And your brother is not a good person. If you want to kill him, I can help you. Hearing this, I laughed at myself. Even an orc who has just been tortured. Everyone can see that Song Rong is not a good person. In my previous life, I fell into a trap specially arranged by him. But Song Rong can't die now. Everyone knows I'm immortal. But first someone knows that my beloved can kill. Who did he know this secret from? I want to find this person. Then uprooted. So I can't kill you yet. Song Emia, I don't need you to do this. Your job is to protect me every day. Including sleeping. Hu Niu looked at me blankly. His face was so red that he was about to bleed. I only know how to fight. Won't do those things. Foxes, rabbits and cats may be better at this. His voice became smaller and smaller. I couldn't react for a while. But then I heard that he quickly couldn't find it. But I can learn. I am the smartest beast on Kingshan. Learns anything very quickly. As he said that, he slowly approached sitting me, awkwardly on my lap. Hold my neck. He blushed even harder. Rabbitman took me to meet his master before. That's how he is. How do you like it? I immediately hugged Hu Niu off my body. He looked a little worried. Master Dao doesn't like me like this. I pressed my aching temples. Open your mouth to explain. Feelings are the most elusive thing. We don't need this kind of relationship to maintain our relationship. I know you like freedom. Why don't we make an agreement? Hu Niu looked at me seriously. Wait quietly for my next words. You follow me. Cooperate with what I do outside. Wait until everything is over. I will set you free. Its tail wagged, but my eyes are a little more probing. This world. Human sword ancestor. Orcs for fish meat. The orcs were never promised freedom. He doesn't believe it. I understand too. So I had to give him reassurance. If you are afraid that I will regret it, we can sign a blood contract. As soon as these words came out, Hu Niu suddenly raised her head, eyes full of disbelief. Between humans and orcs, there is a legend passed down from ancient times. Once blood and gas are formed between two parties, will be connected. If one party dies, the other party will not die, but I will bear the pain of burning bones and heart every day. It can be said that life is worse than death. Look at his hesitant look. I raised my eyebrows. How to hold it or not? He slapped the table. Seems to have made some kind of determination. I pulled it and bit it with my index finger. Fingertips collide. Recite the mantra silently in your mind. After becoming Hu Niu and I both have a cinnabar mole in the corner of our eyes. This is a symbol of blood. Now that you have become your own person, I can finally give Hu Niu my first mission. Although the name Hu Niu is cute, but it's not elegant enough. From now on, just call me Tiger, okay? She blinked. Confused, what does this mean? I pat her head. Tiger means Mountain King. He raised his head and twisted. I like this name. So domineering. Tiger and I stayed at home for half a month without going out. Yamaguchi has good physical fitness, plus special medicine and nutritious meals. All the injuries on my body, big and small, are almost healed. It just so happens that this is an invitation letter sent by the favorite butler. Things of rich second-generation dudes. Just a party. And I've never been interested in this kind of thing, but it's the woman who brought her orcs out to show off, to satisfy one's own vanity. But for my plan, this time I have to take the tiger out to show off his power. The party was held on a luxury cruise ship by the sea. From a distance, you can see the lights on the yacht. There are all kinds of young men and ladies dressed up carefully. Drink and chat together. And the orcs on the side. Serve tea and water next to them. Wag your tail and meditate. I just boarded. Then I saw Song Rong and his friends walking towards me. Isn't this our young master Song, the flower of the mountain? What is called Arya? Come to all our parties. What do you know? Even gods occasionally need to eat too. What's more, it's Song Jun. I heard that young master Song finally raised an orc. Why don't we get to know each other soon? I glanced lightly. This man dressed like a feather duster. He's not an orc. He has a name. As soon as he said the words call him a tiger, the onlookers burst into laughter. As expected of young master Song, naming animals is too formal. A tiger is a tiger. What a tiger. Why not call it palmworm? As he said this person wanted to put his hand on my shoulder. But I haven't encountered it yet. I was blocked by tigers. Removed his arm on the spot. Die or get out. Everyone took a breath of cold air. And the orcs around them were trembling. This should be the king of the forest. Weiya is born with indulgence. After seeing the tiger's appearance clearly, eyes light up. This is the orc I gave you that day. I didn't expect that it would have a different flavor after tidying it up. I pulled the tiger behind me. Block his view. I want to thank my brother for giving up his love to become the king. He licked his lips and wanted to see the tiger again, but his attention was attracted by the commotion not far away. A rabbit beast rides on a fox beast, holding a whip in his hand and shouting, "What a waste! Run faster, I frowned. Take a closer look. It is October who is being ridden underneath. He also saw me. A glint of expectation flashed in the eyes. But he quickly lowered his head and froze in place. The charming rabbit beast saw this, immediately hit him harder. The slender whip on his face, leaving behind streaks of hideous blood. Why aren't you moving? You are rejected by your master. He is my king now. If you disobey, I have plenty of ways to torture you. That's when I discovered, behind them, there was also a man in rich clothes following him. He looked at all this casually. There were other orcs hugging him from left to right. Song Rong patted my shoulder. Tell me in detail. Isn't this the fox beast you didn't want that day? It's so miserable now. Big brother, you are unmoved when you see such a pitiful thing. This is not like the sitting sign of your holy mother. Hearing this, I sneered in my heart. In order for Song Rong to place October next to me, it's really all you can do. I have used all the meat-catching tactics, and I just held the tiger's hand. I, Song Jung, only have one orc in my life. That's the tiger. As I said that, I scanned the whole place. If anyone without eyes bumps into him, don't blame me for being self-denial. I squeezed the tiger's hand. When he continues to lean into my arms, look at me with red eyes. Let the rabbit beast torture you. He didn't make a sound either. Song Rong's eyes have been wandering around me and Tiger. I know the fish will bite soon. I'm not the one who's going to die this time. After my oath of sovereignty, the people surrounding me and the tiger dispersed. Song Rong also hugged the various orcs around him and left Shanchun. I'm lying on the railing of the yacht. Let the sea breeze blow on your cheeks. The tiger came to me holding a variety of desserts. Ah Jung, try this. A pink macaron was handed to my mouth. I don't like sweets, but I don't even want to see his disappointed eyes. At this moment, a figure rushed in front of me, closed the candy in the tiger's hand. Then I heard a sharp scream coming from the person coming. He doesn't eat sweets. Take your dirty hands off. You actually called him a Jung, who goes in white, covered in stains mixed with blood. There are still red marks on the neck caused by the chains. His slender figure stood swaying in the sea breeze. It seems as if just one touch will destroy the previous Whenever life. He looks at me like this, I wish I could give him my heart. But he did it for my brother, ended my life with my own hands. Seeing his expression again, there is no wave in my heart. Yun pointed at the tiger and roared hysterically. Why don't you choose me? In your heart, am I still inferior to this tigress? Then there is the slow as a tiger. I also heard something wrong in these words. He picked up the desserts scattered on the floor and wiped them for me. After giving a signal with his eyes, he pushed it to a place not far away. Everyone is partying by the pool. There were only 3 of us left on the 3rd floor of the huge cruise ship. I walked to Sha Yun, pat his cheek. What I said just now fell on deaf ears. Anyone too, don't try to bully the tiger. He shook his head desperately. Tears welled up in my eyes. No, you are not such a master. You will obviously choose me. Why is it like this? He seemed to suddenly remember something. Hold my shoulders tightly with your hands. You are back too. Are you also reborn? I was shocked. No wonder he's acting so strangely. I thought he was just trying to find a way to stay by my side, but I didn't expect that he would be reborn too. I only have one thought in my mind at the moment. Never let him know. I am also reborn. I broke free from his hands. He calmly took a step back. I do not know what you're talking about, but if necessary, I can introduce it to your master. A good doctor will give you a look. Sha Yun held my hand that was about to leave. The eyes and eyebrows are red. Master, I was wrong before. I didn't know until you died. You are the best to me. Song Rong is a beast. Because I missed his life-saving grace many years ago, I just let you go. Can you give me another chance? I will treat you well this time. I will never betray you again. I threw his hand away impatiently. I already said that. I don't know you at all. I don't understand what you're saying either. Maybe it's because my mood swings a lot. And the tiger's blood sound effects. He can feel my thoughts. The cinnabar mole under the corner of my eye flashed. Shockingly hot. Sha Yun saw this scene. Shocked. You have vented your anger with others. How can you vent your anger with others? The tiger is coming towards Slap Sha Yun with one palm. If you don't want to die, get out now. Sha Yun was knocked to the ground, vomiting a mouthful of blood. He collapsed on the ground, already a bit ruthless. Can you take me away? That person is a beast. Don't treat me as a human being. I don't have a good piece of meat on my body. You are the eldest young master of the Jade Beast clan. As long as you speak, he will definitely let. Take me away. As long as you take me away, I'm willing to do anything. I am willing to marry you to death. Let's live and die together. Okay. The abacus beads are almost falling into my face. Human beings and saints have nothing but flesh and blood. There is also a sense of death. Two people who agree to die together will live and die together.
Past life.
More than once, I have longed to marry him after succeeding as the clan leader. The lifespan of an orc is no more than 100 years. I just want to conclude a life and death relationship. Then he can also possess my immortal body. It's a pity that he killed this opportunity with his own hands. I chuckled and said, "Who do you think you are? Cooperate with me to live and die together." The tiger walked to me obediently. "Take my arm, Ah Cheng. We go home." On the way home, how many times did the tiger want but swallowed it back? The third time he looked at me. He hesitates to just say whatever makes me laugh. The king of the mountain, why are you still acting coy? He hesitated for a while. Azan finally spoke. You are an orc too. I just heard the fox demon say you were reborn. Geckos and lizards have this special ability. My teacher shook his head and said, what you are talking about different is from me. Cutting to survive. He doesn't seem to agree with me. He shook his head and said, when faced with danger, they had to cut off their tails to survive. You must have suffered a lot too. That's why you're reborn. The dim streetlight shone on his face. It actually made me lose my mind for a moment. Reluctant anger and resentment from past lives. It seems to have disappeared at this moment. There is only one worrying in front of me. Am I a girl who has suffered a lot? Now that the blood contract has been I decided signed to tell my story to the riverside. Shai Yun is that fox demon. He was an orc from my previous life. Also the fiancé. But in the end he killed me with his own hands because of Song Long. The words just fell. I only heard a loud noise. The vehicle stops instantly. The tiger actually smashed the glass with his hand. His eyes are scarlet, with the little tears. I'm going to kill them both. I held his shaking shoulders. Whisper comfort, have you forgotten the ancient prohibition? Once orcs kill humans, it will be counterattacked. The feeling is 10,000 times worse than the backlash of blood. He heard this, sobbed loudly. What should I do? You are so good. Why do they do this to you? Can't kill Song Mo, but I can kill that stinky fox. Before I transformed, they foxes all avoid me and go away. I held his tightly clenched hand to comfort him. Sometimes death is not the best way to get revenge. On the contrary, it is a relief. Make life worse than death is the best counterattack. The tiger nodded in understanding. I won't allow anyone to hurt you. The wind blew open the window in the middle of the night. I half closed my eyes, but I feel a numb itch coming from my chest. Take a closer look. It's actually a round one. He also has a pierced ear on his head. I burst into laughter. One hand reaches into the bed. Hold the pair of mountains.